Hey, welcome to Lenny Schmidts Quarantine Comedy. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. This is the show where we talk to live performers, singers, writers. That wouldn't be really a live performer, but singers, actors, dancers, musicians, and a lot of comics, comedians. We talk to them about their careers, what they did before COVID, how they're adjusting to COVID, what they're going to do moving forward. The COVID has shut down the live entertainment industry completely across the board. This gives everyone an opportunity to catch up with their favorite performers, and the performers an opportunity to share some product, some merch, some albums, so forth, and get some support while we're going through this COVID thing. So thank you for being here. If you enjoyed the show, do me a favor, like the video first. Number one, most important, please like the video. That helps me immensely. Also, share the video if you really like the show. Share the video. Subscribe to the channel. That helps a lot as well. That goes really far with YouTube. It helps us stay, helps me to put shows up and get more attention on YouTube. Also, if you want to support the show financially, if you want to throw some money at the show, there's a couple of options for you. Bam, they're right above my head, right there. Look at that. Look at that. You can go to lennyschmidt.com/if you can. That's my website. You can Venmo me at Lenny Schmidt Comedy. And you can join my Patreon page, which I'll talk about later in the broadcast. You can do a monthly fee. You can pay as little as $1 on all of those options. If you enjoy the show, you enjoy the content, the interview, with the white noise, whatever you're doing with the show in the background, you can throw $1 at it, whatever you think it's worth. Just $1. It's simple. Just $1. You have an option between $1 and $10,000. There's an actual $10,000 button on my website. I'm not going to tell you how many people have used it. But it rhymes with the word zero. Anyway, please feel free to throw some money at the show. We'd appreciate it. We don't have any sponsors. The show is totally sponsored by and supported by all of the people that watch the show and some of the entertainers that have been on the show as well. So I can't thank you enough. So sit back, enjoy the show, enjoy today's episode, and we're going to start it right now. This is taped. It won't be taped in a second. This is going to be live. Here we go. Enjoy the show. Thanks for being here. Take care. Yay, there's the big fancy 100 episode opening. Yay. It's 100 episodes. So many people are already here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you very much. You guys are very sweet, man. I have really cool supporters. You guys are the awesomest. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're 100 episodes in. Many of you have been here from the beginning. I appreciate that. If you have been here from the beginning, you know that the first 30 or so were crap. So there's been a learning curve that's happened, and I think I'm doing all right. I got it figured out a little bit now. I think I'm pretty good. I should update some of the graphics and some other stuff, but I'm feeling really good. Thank you, Brenda, Robbie. You guys are good here. Rachel, everybody's here. Thank you very much. You guys are the best. Hey, thanks for being here. It's I hope you had a good weekend. I don't know what else to open. I was watching the news. There's not a lot of good news as usual. There's weird news. There's they're busting people left and right for unemployment fraud in California. I think that's encouraging, I guess, sort of. I can't believe some of these scams that people are running. And then besides that, there's Trump's tax returns came out, and I'm sure that surprised no one what was on the tax return, that he basically found a way to cheat his way out of not paying any taxes, which if anything, everybody should. Never mind. I don't want to get into the political thing. I'm not going to do it. Listen to me. I was also. What else do I want to say? Oh, the Bears won yesterday. If you really care about that, Robbie Davis might care. Everyone else does not care. Besides that, everything is good, man. I think we're going to get right to it. I'm excited to have our guest. Lily's excited that our guest is here because he played the principal on Wizards of Waverly Place, and my daughters watched that show. That was one of the shows that was on in my house 24 hours a day, and I would have showed a clip, but it's Disney, and don't mess with Disney, man. I can't show a Disney clip on anything because they will find me. They will probably come here while the clip is airing and come into my house and shut down my computer. I'm not kidding. They do not mess around. So I'm not even going to risk. I was afraid to even mention it, but I'm not showing the clip. But we're going to bring our guest out right now. We're going to get right to it today. That's what we're going to do. Folks, welcome to this. I always say welcome to the stage. Oh, I can't wait till I can say that again. That'll be awesome when I can say that again. Folks, welcome to the screen, my good friend, the one and only Mr. Bill Chott. Here he is. Look, there he is. Bill Chott, live and in person. How are you, buddy?
Good. I can't wait to be on the stage too.
Oh, I'm dying. I know. Are you doing the Zoom improv stuff?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of Zoom improv. I just was part of the St. Louis Compass Improv Festival, which is my hometown.
Okay.
And I've been doing a lot with Comedy Sports and with Jay Succo, my two-person team partner. Jay and I have been doing improv together since Chicago back in the early days at the Body Politic Theater. We had a two-man show called Motherless Stage Whores. And we've remounted it under the name 0 Hour because it's not quite as acceptable to call ourselves Motherless Stage Whores.
You've updated for the...
Because we can't be on stages right now.
Bro, I see. Well, of course, that makes sense. That way it wouldn't confuse people. Absolutely. How do you do... I had Cody Dove on the show not too long ago. Do you know Cody Dove?
Cody Dove, yeah.
He's been doing some of the Zoom improv stuff as well, man. That's good. So St. Louis, man, that's great. How are you doing? How are things in the Valley, man? Where were you? First of all, let's start with this. Where were you in town? Have you been in town when the shutdown happened in March? Have you been around?
Yeah, I've been in LA for the whole shutdown. With rare exception, we took a drive up to San Francisco on, I think it was 4th of July weekend, because we just needed to get out of the house. Right. So we just drove all the way to San Francisco, walked down the Golden Gate Bridge, walked back, got a pizza, and drove all the way back all on the same day.
Well, if you're going to go to San Francisco, grab the pizza. That's what I hear.
They don't take it seriously up north. You know, down here, everywhere in Southern California, everybody's wearing like 3 or 4 masks. You go up to San Francisco, nobody's wearing them, or at least the parts that we were.
Yeah, there's a lot of places like that across the country, from what I understand. I'm traveling next week for the first time.
I understand. Well, here's the thing: is I get it. You know, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from St. Louis, so I get it. Why people who live in rural Missouri think that wearing a mask isn't that necessary because they're never within 6 feet of anyone.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But San Francisco, they live right on top of one another. Yeah. I just didn't understand it.
Yeah, that's a totally and you would think San Francisco too. Is an extremely liberal city. They'd be all over that mask distancing. LA, right up there with LA. Yeah.
I thought just from a political standpoint, there'd be people, but just from a common sense standpoint.
Doesn't that scare you a little bit when you're in a city and you're looking around and people don't give a shit? You know what I mean? You got to look at some point. You got to be like, oh, I don't know if I should be anywhere right now. I can't trust any of these people. You know what I mean?
It does. And then everybody, I was talking with a friend of mine the other day about how everybody's got their own level of comfortable. How comfortable are you being around other people again? How comfortable are you being around people who aren't masked or being not masked yourself? Mm-hmm. Me, if I'm taking a walk and there's nobody else around, I'll take off the mask for just a little bit to get some breathing room. But if I'm anywhere near like twice the distance of somebody, what if they actually sneeze? Because that 6 feet is just like the water droplets can make their way. But if it sneezes, it can go twice the... I was already afraid of people sneezing at me.
Yeah, right. This just pushes it over the edge. Yeah, I know. I know this. I know, man. I'm the same. You know what? I gotta be honest with you, man. I do Uber Eats at night now, late at night to deliver. There's a lot of people that don't wear masks and just don't care. I mean, anytime you go to a restaurant, obviously, it's a rule and you gotta have a mask. But there was a couple of functions I walked into where there was a lot of people and nobody had a mask, and I'm just like, what the hell? There was a place in Santa Monica last night. I don't know if you remember. You might remember this. There's a place in Santa Monica. They used to be called NY Chai Pizza. It's at it's a pizza place in Santa Monica. I probably shouldn't have said this. It's not that much people are gonna sell them out.
Now you're gonna get free pizza. That's the only bad thing that can come from that.
I went and picked up a pizza for them to deliver last night, and there was like a party going on in there. The place was packed. You know what I mean? I couldn't believe it. I walked in, I'm like, is this a time war? But they're all young too. They're all like 20s. So they're they got that invincible feeling.
Here's what I don't get is they're like, you can take your mask off for while you're eating, but that's the entire time you're in a restaurant. Nobody's going to keep them on while they're seated and waiting because they want to sip their drink while they're waiting.
I mention that all the time. I say that all the time. I don't understand the mask. I don't understand the mask thing. I don't know how good the masks are helping. I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm following the rules.
And they say 1 in every 2 person that's come down with COVID has been in a restaurant. So if you want to really, really play the math, keep away from restaurants.
Oh wow,
go to Uber Eats.
No, yeah. Call me. I'll bring you your food. That's good. That's great. Yeah, dude, that's messed up. That's totally messed up. Yeah, a lot of plus some people walk around now. I see guys walking around doing this stunt. You know what I mean? People will be in their car and they'll walk around and they'll do this. You know, but I'm seeing more and more people that just they're not doing anything. You know, and
it's starting to surge again. It's already happening in France because I heard the other day that France is just about the same. Everything's operating normal. The only difference is everyone's wearing masks. Yeah. But they're not wearing them in the cafes. Yeah, they're not wearing them in a mime class or wherever they spend their time in France. But it's already starting to surge there, and I've got a bad feeling about this fall here, even in LA.
Yeah, no, I'm worried too. I hope it's not. I hope that's not going to be the case because it's Israel or something is shut down again. There's a couple places.
Yeah,
people were saying like the numbers are kind of going up here, and they go, well, we're having our second wave, and I'm like, no, our second wave is like a month away. I mean, everything happened. Everything happens. The way it spread, it started and then spread west. And if you take, that's why New York was a shit show early, and then LA became a problem later. I mean, do the math. The second wave is gonna come the exact same way. It's not gonna just pop up in places. So I'm worried that late in November, like after the election, is when things are gonna get really crappy here. So
yep,
I hope not.
When everybody needs to buy guns.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I hear you. I know. Well, I want to go try and get ahead of that. I want to go get my gun before the election because I've already been to the range, dude. Dude, I've been to the range. I've talked to a couple friends about buying a. Yeah, I don't know what to expect, dude. Yeah. LA's kind of a shit show. You know what I mean? It's I drive around late at night delivering food, and there's some areas that are not pleasant. You know, I'm surprised. I have a ton of friends moving out of LA. Tons of people that are leaving here, but I kind of want to.
Well, right now we could do what we want to do from anywhere in the country. So why stay in LA?
Yeah, that's it. Everybody's learning that.
I love the culture of LA. I love the people in LA. But if I can't experience either of those, it makes no sense to stay here. I'm staying here just because I don't want to hunt for an apartment when it's all over.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I do. My daughters moved in with me, so we moved across the street. They want to be here. That's the only reason I'm here. I'll be honest with you. I keep telling them all the time.
Good.
Yeah, because I would rather be. I'm like, do you guys want to go to South Dakota? What do you think of South Dakota? And they're like, no, we don't want to go to South Dakota. I got you can get land there. You know, I can get some land from South Dakota for what I'm paying for a 2-bedroom apartment in Sherman Oaks. I got news for you. You know,
yeah.
So I have no idea. Well, who are you quarantining with? Are you? I don't know your family situation. What's going on? You got a roommate?
Yeah, my wife Samantha, and she works from home. She's been working from home since the lockdown happened, and she works in commercial real estate, so she's able to do most of what she does from home, and then she has to go out to properties. But that's usually pretty safe because it's a property that nobody's using right now, or she's touring a property with somebody who has to be COVID compliant as well. Me, I'm just trying to audition from home, trying to do comedy from home, and looking after our daughter, who I have to shepherd through Zoom classes. Oh, she's only 3.5 years old.
Oh man, how is that going?
Yeah, it's tough.
How is it? Is she kindergarten? What's the Zoom?
No, she's not even TK yet.
Right.
Yeah.
She's because 3.5 is young. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're doing Zoom classes for that. Okay. That seems like, how do you keep a 3-year-old on a Zoom class?
It's helping. You know what? The more she does it, the more she gets used to it. And she's learning how to use a mouse and click on things, and she's typing her name.
Oh, good. All right. So, there you go. Good. So she's learning all the computer skills that she's going to need when she gets
starting
older.
them young.
Yeah, well, they all know more than we do at this. You know what I mean? My daughter was just in here showing me something on her phone, and I'm like, I still don't know how to work Snapchat. You know what I mean? There's filters everywhere, and I'm like, I don't know where do you do that? And they're like, come on, Dad. I don't know any of it.
I'll do TikTok. I won't do Snapchat.
Look at you, brother. Right? You're saying, well, good for you then. You got a big victory this week. TikTok sticks around, right? The judge just reversed that. Look at you.
For a while.
Yeah, it'll be here for a while. All right, man, that's cool. That's very good. Now? Let's talk about this. First of all, have you booked anything through during this shutdown through Zoom online booking, acting wise?
Well, here's the thing. I've got 2 job offers waiting for it to be safe to travel for COVID. One of them's a TV show that was starting to ramp up right before the quarantine, and then I hadn't heard back from them for a while, and then I heard, hey, it's still on. We're just waiting for it to be safe. It's supposed to happen back in Chicago, so that may happen. I've got I was approached about a film that was supposed to shoot in San Francisco, and then these fires happened. So who knows, how long it'll be to get back into the swing of that. So there's no telling. There's 2 projects that are out there dangling, and I've had a good number of auditions from home.
Okay, that's good. I've done a couple of Zoom auditions for commercials. I don't have because I was a cruise ship guy before all this hit. So most of my stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was on ships.
You know Jimmy Della Valle, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah. New York guy.
Yeah, he works a lot of cruise ships too. He's kind of not interested in doing that for a while.
Yeah, I read his Facebook too. He's another guy that's always, look at these people with no masks. Yeah. He's all complaining about it. He's all over it. These people, these idiots. I love it when
Jimmy gets mad.
Oh, you know what the best part about Jimmy is when you read his Facebook, you can hear his voice in your head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can actually, this is ridiculous. You saw that gruff New York, no bullshit, fuck, that type of thing.
Yeah.
That's a guy. Well, that's good. I did a couple auditions online. That's about it, man. It's dude, nature is just screwing us left and right. Fires, COVID. You know what I mean? Every time something comes up, there's another thing that happens. You can't get out. You can't even get out to work. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You got a great you got a great resume, dude. I was looking at all the stuff you did. I can't show any of it because I didn't have any rights to any of it. You know what I mean? And that seems to be an issue every time we put something up on YouTube. But dude, Galaxy Quest, that's the coolest ever. I love that movie.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good gig, man.
That was a fun experience. It was 3 hot days in the Palladium. They shot that whole convention scene in the Palladium.
Oh, yeah.
And since they were doing all these different angles with all the different people who were lined up there, we had to be there for 3 days, even though I had like one line.
Right.
But I might be caught in crossing or in an overhead shot or something. So all of us had to stick around. And there was a battle going on amongst the people who were extras.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody working background was like angling to make sure they're in the shot so they get the 3 days worth of work.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to work up a conversation with Alan Rickman and work up the nerve because, he's been a villain and everything. He's got that sour expression. But he was a really nice guy, but I was afraid to talk to him. And all of a sudden, this other guy who was a background artist starts trying to push a script on him. The last thing you want to do.
Oh, that's a big no-no, first of all, for an extra guy.
Yeah, it was pretty ballsy, but I guess he already knew he had been in a shot, so they weren't going to throw him out.
Oh, right. Okay.
Both he and his girlfriend knew the game, and they knew how to play it. And there was a lot of infighting between all the background artists.
Yeah, that's a whole gig, man. That's a whole. People do that. They got that down. There's a whole. When I started out, I did a ton of extra work, and I did a bunch of. I did those baseball movies in Chicago. I did Rookie of the Year and some other movie. I'll tell you what I did. This is kind of cool. I think it was Rookie of the Year. Gary Busey was in one of these movies. Gary Busey was in one of them. He played the coach, the manager. And I was listening to the radio in the morning, and he was talking about they were giving away a speaking role. We were going to give away a speaking role to somebody. It was a contest. So I go, well, if they're just giving away speaking roles, there's got to be a way that I can get a speaking role. So I go there as an extra, but before I signed in to be an extra, I put on a coat and pretended I was a courier. And I went to the back entrance and said, I have a delivery for Gary Busey. And they said, okay. And they walked me right in. They walked me right to the stadium. They walked me right to the dressing rooms. And no, it's got to be signed for because they wanted to take it. And they're like, all right, come on. So I walk all the way in, and it was my headshot. It was a resume. It was a letter that said, hey, I'm in the stands playing in left field if you're giving away a speaking role. And, of course, nothing came from it. But I remember doing it, and I remember walking through it going, wow, this is pretty ballsy, and it was cool.
It is.
Yeah.
That's like an old school Hollywood story. You've got probably the last big – probably would be a better story if you booked it. Yeah. But, it's like when Steven Spielberg just walked onto the Warner Brothers lot and started setting up an office that they weren't using.
That's great.
You used to be able to manipulate this industry. All you needed was a little bit of chutzpah.
Sure. You just act like you're supposed to be there. That's all. You just walked in with that attitude like, hey, how's it going, Fred? I'm like, oh, good. Who's that? You know what I mean? Just act like you're supposed to be there. That's great.
Yeah.
So I.O., man, we talked about this a little bit beforehand. You did mostly I.O. West Coast. IO, for people that don't know, is Improv Olympic in Chicago. That's a theater. It's similar to Second City, but it's an improv theater. Basically, it's you did IO. Did you in Chicago at all? You said
I did a little bit in Chicago. Here's what I did.
Okay.
All my friends were doing IO or Comedy Sports or Second City.
Right.
And Second City was the place that everybody was like in the middle, right? And like people who really wanted to do long form would do IO. People who wanted to do short form would do Comedy Sports. And also with Comedy Sports, you'd get paid because you'd do industrials and stuff like that. So I went off and did Comedy Sports and took a class or two with Sharna, but never like went through the system. And then when I got hired to work in the touring company at Second City, I was asked to be in the first Armando. So, and for people who might not be familiar with that, that's a monologue show, and like all the all the top people,
it was the big
improvisers were asked to do that. And I was extremely honored to be asked to do that, having not really been part of the whole establishment at IO. But then when I moved out here, that was right when we were starting up IO West. So that was my home, IO West out here in Los Angeles, and now that's gone, and IO's gone in Chicago too now.
I know, that's so. I was really bummed when I saw that, man. I was that's too bad. That's really too bad. There's a great theater. I mean, I went to IO Chicago mainly because of Dell. That's the whole reason I went there, was I wanted to study with Dell. So I stayed all the way through, and I did 3 sessions with Dell or whatever at the end, and then I did a West here when I first moved here. But at that time, I was working. I was getting acting work, and you know, that's all free. I just couldn't swing it anymore, man. I was starting to have kids. I'm like, I can't do these, rehearsals, no money, and then the shows are no money, and that type of thing. So I ended up moving on from there. Are you doing? What are you doing? Were you doing? Give me a second. Were you doing any type of improv out here, study wise or performance wise in LA before the COVID?
Yeah, I had right up until COVID, I had been doing a lot of shows with Comedy Sports. And I started my own school called the Improv Trick. So I was doing shows and classes through Improv Trick. And then I also teach and perform at Comedy Sports. And that all happened at a wonderful time because Comedy Sports was pulling away from the theater we were doing shows at, and we're going to look for a new theater to perform at, which is never a problem because Comedy Sports always takes a big family audience with it wherever it goes. Okay. But all of a sudden, no theaters were open.
Right.
So that was a huge problem. but yeah, since then we started doing a lot of Comedy Sports shows online, and hoping to do some Improv Trick shows online, except for Improv Trick is focused more on classes and less on performance. So we don't have like a house team or shows per se. We've mounted some shows, but only out of just somebody has offered us, hey, you teach improv, do you want to do an improv show? And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do it. We play games for half an hour. Yeah, right on. All right, well that's pretty cool. Yeah, I loved, dude, I love improv training. It's the first thing I tell people to do when they ask me about being a stand-up, about acting. But everybody asks me about doing stand-up. They go, what should I do if I want to do stand-up? And I tell them, I go, just take an improv class. I go, that's the first thing I say every single time. I go, it made me a way better stand-up, and it makes you an incredibly better actor. I think it's an amazing technique to learn because it just covers so many bases. It teaches you basically, it teaches you to listen. That's the most important thing, starting with, is to be able to listen and react. The whole yes and technique, which is just, it helps with everything.
And now you can learn it no matter where you are. So there's people who live in South Dakota, like you were talking about, who may not have had a chance to find an improv teacher. Now they got their pick. They can take a pick nationwide and pardon me, worldwide. They can study with the best.
Right.
And a lot of them are.
Yeah. No, that's really, that's interesting, man. Are you instructing online too?
Yeah, it's a whole different beast because you could have a larger class, but you want everybody to fit on screen so you could figure out if somebody's not absorbing, or not listening, which the toughest thing in an improv class is when you're like, okay, the most important thing to do is listening. Hey, listening. So that's tough to do when you want to make sure that you see them in that Brady Bunch style grid.
Yeah.
So that you can see but the great thing is, if you tell everybody to turn their mics off, it's existing in a vacuum. So it's just this creativity between the people who are in the scene, and nobody's playing for laughs. There's always that temptation to play for laughs when we do it in the real world, when we're live and in a theater.
Yeah.
That element's taken out. So it's pure. The art form has never been more pure, even though we're not physically connected.
That's amazing. I didn't even think about that angle of it. You're absolutely right. Because even when you start out, that was the beginning of improv classes. You could always tell that first class or the first level was always like, it was like 60% people that were just trying to get the joke. And then you would have to teach them, you know, that's why Sharna was so good at pounding that out of your head. You know what I mean? Like, don't play for the joke. Don't play for the joke. But yeah, that's completely eliminated when you're doing a Zoom show. That's brilliant. That's got to help them focus more.
Yeah.
That's the greatest. I love that. That's very cool. Hold on a second.
It also encourages the other. What was that? You got a question?
No. I'm good. I'm going to the board right now. Go right ahead, but finish your point. Right. Please finish your point.
The point that I was starting to make was that when you're doing it on stage, you're not always aware that you're just a talking head. But when you're seeing your talking head on screen, you're like, wait a minute, I need to mix this up. So maybe I'll do part of the scene from here or off stage. I just did a great that show I was telling you about as part of the Compass Fest. Jay and I would edit, because it's just a 2-man long form, so we're both there the whole time. But we would edit by one person dropping out and then coming back in and initiating a new scene.
Oh, smart. Okay, cool.
Using the Zoom platform. And so Jay one time didn't come back and started doing my inner voice.
Okay.
Which is something you really wouldn't normally do without breaking the illusion live and in person. So there's so many benefits to doing it. It's not the same thing, but it's certainly not better or worse when you're doing it online.
Yeah, but you know what's cool was that when it comes to entertainment, like what we do, and especially what you do, because it's such an interactive format, is you're being forced to recreate ways to do that in this atmosphere. And things are being recreated. I mean, entertainment.
Yeah.
I always compare it a lot to, excuse me, when TV showed up and radio disappeared. You know what I mean? Like, everything changed so much that we have to learn to recreate these things. Otherwise, if we don't, you know, I mean, what are you going to do? So everybody, I think across the board, TV shows and everything are going to completely change. You know what I mean? I think so many stuff is going to completely change.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, you talk about that transition between radio and television. That until I want to say, single camera comedy really wasn't a thing until about 10 or 15 years ago.
Right.
And so that everything before that was not a visual medium. It was basically taking the setup, punchline, live audience setting of radio comedy and just putting a camera on and doing it from, different angles, 3 different angles. But the earliest TV, like the Honeymooners, was just like one straight on camera.
One shot, yeah.
And then I Love Lucy was one of the big pioneers of doing the 3-4 camera shoot. But even then, it was the same concept, still relying heavily on verbal comedy. But it wasn't until just recently that single camera comedy was able to like focus in on what the punchline is and show you visually what that is. So it took us about a half a century or more to finally evolve from radio to TV.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And the single camera shoot, I was always intrigued. Like Malcolm in the Middle was one of the earlier shows that came out, I think, that did that. And they also reinvented the storytelling. It gave them a different opportunity, different ways to tell storytelling. And also it added another storyline, and you know what I mean? Like, as opposed to the old 2 storylines with a runner or whatever through like a half-hour sitcom, they were able to do 3 storylines and connect them all at the back end of the episode. You know what I mean? And it moves so much quicker.
Yeah, started doing cutaways.
Yeah, absolutely. Back and forth.
Doing cutaways, which kind of evolved out of, we were talking about I.O. and all the tag outs, the tag ins.
Yep.
That's that form of humor. That's how it made its way into single camera comedy.
Yeah, right. And it just gave them a way to be able to show that to the audience. You know, and then after that came and then the talking to the camera thing, the breaking the third wall, like the whole mockumentary type Office scenario. You know what I mean? Where they kind of pretend like they're doing and there's and voiceover. How much the single camera Malcolm, I think, had, I don't know, did Malcolm have voiceover in it? Well, you know, it did. Wonder Years did, though. Wonder Years had voiceover for sure.
Wonder Years.
Yeah. But that gave them an opportunity, and then even another opportunity to story tell, because then they could do voiceover on top of the one camera. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But I guess I started this by saying everything's being recreated. I think that social media is going to, people are figuring out how to be funny online. And it hasn't been an easy ride. You know what I mean? It's been, even some of the late night shows you're watching, they were struggling. I mean, some of those early on, it just, without the audience, first of all, makes a big difference. You know, you don't hear anybody laughing. But I think everybody was forced to jump into this fire of, okay, what are we going to do? And just recreating what we're doing. But we will. You know what I mean? It's kind of exciting because you're going to figure it out.
Definitely. It's a little more fast-paced, I've noticed, at least when I watch Seth Meyers. And he usually kind of rolls along and doesn't really wait for the laughs either. He just gets to the next bit. Right. And now that there's no audience there, you almost don't have time to react yourself in your living room.
Yeah,
or wherever you're watching the
You got to pause it. Yeah. You got to pause. Otherwise, you're like, what did I miss? Go back. Yeah, the 10-second thing. Yeah, right on. Yeah, that's really interesting. That's cool, man. I didn't even think about that aspect of it. Yeah, cool. Very nice, man. So what are your plans moving forward, man? Are you just waiting this thing out? Are you gonna hang? You're gonna, do you you got the 2 gigs on the table or in the shelf?
Yeah. Waiting on those to happen, but I'm not just laying back. I'm taking a short break, but I'll be back again soon on Facebook doing something I do called Live Jive, where I just have conversations with people watching me make oatmeal. And then whole reason I have this backdrop here is I do comedy bits in the afternoon. So I would do it twice a day. That became a little bit too much. So I'll come back with another couple times a week doing comedy, another couple times making oatmeal. And I might even move that platform over to TikTok, where I've been experimenting. But TikTok, really, you can't go that long with it. And I kind of enjoyed settling in and just being normal for 7 to 15 minutes.
How much time do you have on TikTok?
On TikTok, well, you can go TikTok live, and I'm not even sure what the length is. I'm just starting to learn. I'm starting to tip my toe. As soon as Trump decided he was going to try to get rid of it, I'm like, ooh, let me find out about this thing.
Good for you, Mr. After the Party. Nice, good call.
And also, when I heard they were going to be taking it out of app stores potentially, I was like, well, if there was ever a time to get in, it's now while it's still on an app store. So I've just created a few really quick ones. But I think for the majority, they only go about 3 minutes or so, if that long. Most of them, 30 seconds, 60 seconds.
That's amazing. I could never. What was that one that was out? Vines. Remember when Vine was out?
It's a lot like Vine. Some of the content is a lot like Vine.
Right. Yeah. I'm always as a stand-up, like I'm always more of a storyteller, or I paint a picture more. So I was never good at 20-second, 30-second. I'm amazed to see people that can pull that off. You know what I mean? That really do something strong and consistently. Like a one-line. There's Fraser Smith is a comic that's here in L.A. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a straight set-up one-liner guy, and they're quick.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like 10 seconds, 15 seconds long. And and he opened for me one night. I went up on stage and told the audience, I go, "You guys just saw like 800 jokes." I go, "It's literally." You have 800. I don't know how you can remember. The advantage I have as a storyteller is I can start telling a story and then kind of go with it. Take my time and even change it every time a little bit, But, man, to remember jokes, I would never – I don't know how you do it. And to be able to create and be that funny that quick, that's amazing. It's an amazing talent.
Truly.
That's going for the joke, man. All right, let's go to the board, man. I know I have questions here. So somebody asked I have supporters. They're amazing. I don't have a lot of supporters, but they are fantastic, and they are here, and they have a couple of questions. One is, thank you, Gar. I appreciate that. First of all, have you done anything with, or are you going to do anything with the Groundlings?
I have not. I would. I'd be open to it. You kind of have to go through their program to be in one of their shows. There are shows that they welcome guests into, like Cooking with Joe and the Crazy Uncle. Or Cooking with Gas on the Crazy Uncle Joe show. If I was invited to those, I'd play in a heartbeat. I love a lot of Groundlings players, and but I've never done anything that was part of the Groundlings.
Right. Okay. Here's one now. If someone's interested in your class, I don't know if you can give us a price on what you charge, or is there somewhere they can go to check out your information?
Sure.
as far as your classes go?
Yeah, well, you can try it out for only $20. You just go to theimprovtrick.com. Anybody, anywhere can take a class. And if we have enough demand for different time zones, we'll do that too. But most of our classes start at about 6 or 7 o'clock LA time. And if they just go to theimprovtrick.com or look up improv in LA, I'm usually one of the first things that pops up. They can find out about a class, take a sample class, see if that's right for them. We're also doing a writing class. Myself and Eric Hoffman, who is also a Chicago guy, did Annoyance Theater back in the day and went on to do Mr. Show with Bob and David. We're co-teaching a comedy writing class, and we've already done one of them, and now this is our second one, and we've got an intermediate, more advanced writing class for people.
Okay. All right. Right on. That's cool. All right. I think that answers.
Yeah.
That was Brenda's question.
So
Thank you,
improv
Brenda.
Writing, whatever you want to do, theimprovtrick.com.
Improvtrick.com, man. Very cool. That's excellent, man. Besides that, man, how 3-year-old? Let me ask you this: how's that going at home with a 3-year-old? Is it crazy? How was the quarantine with a 3-year-old?
It's tough because the one saving grace when you have a 3-year-old is you take them out to a park, let them play on all the equipment, and then they pass out and take a nap. There are no parks. You can't take them. You can say like, okay, run around the grass, but they're not just going to run around the grass. You have to motivate it, and you have to have as much energy as a kid to try to get them to get their exercise. Fortunately, we have a pool out in back of our apartment building, so it has been a lot of swimming this summer, but I don't know how we're going to handle this fall. Spring and summer was good. Fall and winter, we may have some days with rain. Getting into January and whatnot. I don't know how we're going to deal with it. But it's fun because she is not surrounded with other kids. She's surrounded by her parents.
Yeah.
And almost everything she does is school related. So her development, oddly enough, has been accelerated. And she's got a pretty big vocabulary, and she's pretty talented with math.
Oh, wow. Good for you. All right. Good for her then. That's great. Yeah. That's awesome.
The only problem is if we go to, this has nothing to do with school or anything. Sometimes when life gets busy and you're in quarantine, you get sick of cooking. So you want to do some takeout. If we do takeout and there isn't chocolate milk involved, we pay holy hell for it.
Oh, no.
So you have to plan where we're going around. I hope to God they have chocolate milk.
Please tell me they have chocolate milk. Dude, she's got you trained. That's hilarious to know.
Just so you know, Burger King usually does not have chocolate milk. Lucky if you go to McDonald's will have chocolate milk. Most Carl's Jr.'s will have chocolate milk. You will not get chocolate milk at Tommy's.
Okay.
Don't expect it.
I love how you got them all memorized. You just know right away, we can't go there. They don't have chocolate milk. That's not happening.
You have to go. You have to take these choices. You can't mention the word car wash, because her greatest form of entertainment is to sit in a car wash when you go through a car wash.
Oh, no way.
So we can't mention that the car's dirty. We can't mention that we need to get a car wash, because then she'll go, there's a car wash! No.
Dude, she runs that house. That's the best ever. I forgot what that was
she
like.
She is so in charge.
She is totally in charge. You look scared.
I am.
Yeah, you're probably happy to get away and get out. Just thank goodness I can just do some sort of podcast for 30 minutes.
Like, get her to 16. Get her driving. Get her out of the house.
Yeah, do something. How's the Halloween thing going to go over with her, man? Is she too young to really be aware of that yet? Because 3.5 is.
Well, last year she did go trick or treating. She's been a bee for every year in her existence. She loved bees. So we're going to get her a bee costume, and we read something somewhere we thought was a great idea, because there's no way to safely trick or treat, even without COVID. It's really not safe anymore.
Yeah, that's
right. So what we're doing is we're doing it like Easter, or like Passover with matzah. We're going to hide candy all over the house. She's got to go find it.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So instead of having to go door to door, she will have to earn. You don't get Halloween candy just because.
Right.
You have to earn it.
You got to put some.
So she will be trying to find it all over the house.
Is she going to be in the bee costume, walking around the house?
She better be. And I'm from St. Louis, so she's got to have a joke too. I don't know if they did this in Chicago, but in St. Louis, if you rang a doorbell and you said trick or treat, they'd give you candy, but first you had to do a trick or say a joke.
Really? No,
yeah.
There was none of that in Chicago. I've never heard of that.
Isn't it weird how it's like we all celebrate that same relatively American holiday?
Right.
It is kind of international, but it's very American.
Yeah.
But we all do it different ways. Like in Detroit, they have Devil's Night the night before.
Right.
And that's when they do all the sloping windows and TPing houses and stuff like that. And then Halloween is just Halloween fun. Everywhere else tries to mix it in.
Yeah, there was one of them. I don't know if it was Detroit now that does Devil's Weekend or something. It extended in multiple days. Yeah, it was the weekend before Halloween, and it's not good. But Detroit was scary. I mean, it was the Devil's Night was not a good time up there. No, man, that's
we lived in Detroit when I was in, I think, third and fourth grade.
There was a place by my daughter's where my ex lives in Bartlett, Illinois, that they have a tradition. I don't know why this came up. This is hilarious. They give away chili for Halloween. Like,
really?
They have a hot crock pot with chili, and they'll go. The kids give the kids candy, but then they'll ask the parents, "You want a bowl of chili?" And they had little styrofoam bowls and little plastic spoons, and you could just grab them. They had hot and not hot, mild or whatever, and you would do it. And I'd ask them, I go, "You guys do chili on Halloween?" And they looked at me like completely matter. Yeah. Like I'm an idiot. Like I didn't know what I was talking about. I'm like, oh, all right. I apologize. Thank you. But I ate the chili, damn it. I ate like 2 bowls of that chili. It was really good.
So many different traditions. My dad's big tradition on Halloween was he would have a glass full of apple wine, and he would drink the wine. Like my grandfather would make the wine. He made all kinds of dandelion wine, apple wine, and then blackberry wine because my grandma grew blackberries in the backyard. But he would send my dad a big jug of apple wine, and for the holidays, my dad would drink apple wine walking behind us while we ran up to the houses and did our thing. And then he would be hammered about halfway through, and my mom would take us out for the second round.
That's great. That's the best. That's the greatest.
What?
I used to when I was a kid, we went alone. We went trick or treating alone. But you're right. Mm-hmm. That's not safe anymore. Like I took my kids every time. Like every single time they went trick or treating. There was never and they never questioned it. They were never like, oh, we used to do a thing here at the school. They went to in Encino. There's a school, St. Cyril School there, which is it's right past the 405. And it was a real small school, tight community. We knew all the parents, so we would just do group trick or treating. You know what I mean? We would go 4 families to get together, and the parents would walk behind the kids, and they'd run around, and you knew the neighborhoods to go to. A couple of good neighborhoods you went to, and you got out. But it was just safer that way. But when I was a kid, man, we would leave the house at 4 and not come home at like 11. I mean, I was knocking on doors at 11:30. I didn't care. I had a huge bag of candy. I remember the giant bag of candy. And I'd get yelled at. People would be pissed. I'd knock on the door at 11:30. Guys would be like, what is wrong with you? I go, it's trick or treat. Trick or treat. Get out of here.
We would use pillowcases.
We did those. We used pillowcases.
Little plastic jack-o'-lanterns, but we would take pillowcases and fill it up.
The pillowcases were the best. Well, we used to, for a while, I would do both just to have the thing. Then we just went right to pillowcases. Because for a while, I was carrying the small thing, the little pumpkin and the pillowcase as a backup, like to pour the candy in. So I'm double fisting, like candy, walking around. And then at some point, I'm like, I should just carry the pillowcase. This is ridiculous. You know what I mean? And then I just started getting that. And then I just got too old. We trick-or-treated a long time, though, man. We did. I don't have any more questions, man, from the peanut gallery. But I do want to ask, Waverly Place, how long were you on the show, man?
We did the show for about 5 years. I was in one of the first few episodes because it hadn't aired yet. When I got the show, there's an interesting story behind this. There's a helicopter going right outside the window. Let me know if it gets annoying.
No, I'll probably be my place in a minute.
I was living in St. Louis because at the time, my first wife hated LA and had been out here for a while. So we bought a house back in St. Louis. And the idea was that I would submit myself. And if my agent found something for me, I'd fly myself out at my own expense and audition. So it was the movie All About Steve with Sandra Bullock. And I did not book it.
Okay.
But while I was there, my agent said, hey, we want you to read for this Disney project called The Wizards of Waverly Place. It's about 4 lines. And I was like, I don't have time for that. I got to fly in town. I have to get a rental car. I need to get coaching because at the time I really wanted to make sure if I'm flying on my way out there, that I'm taking every effort. So I would get coaching, and then I got to get there for the other audition. And they said, if you could just squeeze it in, try. And so I did, and it turned into 5 years of work.
Dude,
so
that's the
if
best.
it hadn't been for All About Steve, I wouldn't have auditioned for the first episode.
I love that. I love that story, man. That's the best. That's cool. There's just always like a little ripple effect.
At the time, it was called the pilot they did was called the Amazing O'Malleys or something like that. And the only thing that was similar about it was that they were wizards that had secret wizard powers, and that David Henry and Selena Gomez was in it. I don't think any of the other cast that wound up as the series regulars were in the pilot, and it was set in a magic shop instead of a Subway shop.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it was originally set in like, like, I guess they were famous for magic because they really had secret magic powers.
Oh, right. Oh, I see. All right.
Yeah. So I was handed a copy of the pilot to check out to get an idea of the feel of the show. But yeah. And I kind of had a feeling when the character's name was Mr. Larry Tate, I was like, this is going to be a regular foil on this show. I've got a feeling.
Yeah.
And so
cool.
It came around the second episode that I was going to be on, still living in St. Louis. I was supposed to go on a delayed honeymoon trip to Germany where my ex-wife was from. And it was like the week we were supposed to fly out. I booked that. I was like, well, I got my priorities. And the marriage lasted about one more year after.
Yeah, that explains why she's the ex. That's at least part of it. It makes a little bit of sense. All right. Dude, that's good for you, man. That's a great gig, man. That's very cool. I know. Did they shoot one episode a week?
Yeah, they would shoot one episode a week. We were shoot at the Hollywood Center Studios where the I Love Lucy was originally shot.
Right.
And at first we were on a staggered schedule where we would start midweek. Like on a Wednesday would be our table read, and then we'd have Thursday, Friday, and then you'd have a whole weekend to study your script. And then you'd come back and shoot Monday, Tuesday, and you'd start again with another table read the next Wednesday.
Wow.
So if you were in a back-to-back episode, or if you were a regular cast member, you would have your weekends off, but you would probably want to be spending them studying versus,
hanging out,
not having to worry about anything until Monday for table read.
Yeah. Wow. So that way they locked up your weekends pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Still, it's a good gig, man. That's good.
But that ended after a while. After a while, we were Monday to Friday.
All right. And they just flipped over. All right. So that's pretty cool, man. That's very cool. Yeah, those shows, man. My daughters watched all those shows, all those tweener sitcoms, every single one, and they were on all day long. There was that. There's Nickelodeon. I watched also the one I watched all the time was that Miranda Cosgrove one, the one where she had a big goofy brother and all that stuff. But yeah, that's all we watched in my house. I have two daughters, so that was it. Yeah, so they saw.
All I watched with a 3.5-year-old is Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. The Gilly Gillies. I don't even know. There's a bunch of birds that just go gilly 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 gilly, and they move and they do things in time to that song.
We used to watch. I'm sorry. Did you have son or daughter? Son or daughter? You didn't. I don't know if
daughter.
You said daughter. All right.
Daughter. Yeah. Isabella.
She did. We watched. Some of these stick around. You know what I mean? But a lot of them are gone and disappear. But Gullah Gullah Island was one that we watched all the time. And the Teletubbies, that to this day I still have no idea what any episode of the Teletubbies was about. You know what I mean? It was the weirdest.
It was all about seeing their shadow and stuff like that.
It's just the weird. I could not. If there was ever, people that were stoned writing episodes of stuff, that was one of the shows because I didn't get every episode I could watch and go, I have no idea what that was. But the kids ate it up, man. They loved it. They just thought it was the best. All right, man. Yeah. Bill, thanks for being here, man. we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking time. Good luck getting chocolate milk for your daughter tonight. Get out there, have some, and enjoy your family.
I've already got that taken care of.
Look at you. Well, yeah, of course you do. I'm way ahead of the game on that one. Right on. Folks, that's Bill Chott. Give it up for my good friend. They clap at home. Believe it or not, they really do. That's Bill Chott, man. Let's hear it for him. Woohoo! That's my friend Bill Chott. Folks, thank you so much. Oh, I did the wrong. Hold on a second. Wait. Yeah, I forgot to mention, Bill. I make a lot of mistakes. Hold on. Here's another one. There we go. Hey, I'm back. Look, it's me. Hey. Let's bring. Okay. This. Okay. What? I'm just spinning them around. That's what's happening there. Folks, that was Bill Chott. Thank you guys so much for episode 100. I can't thank you guys enough. You guys have been great great supporters. I really appreciate it. Where were we at? Yeah, that was like an hour. Holy cow, that went by quick. That was good. We get to talk about kids and trick-or-treating and everything, man. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for being here. 100 episodes. I couldn't have done it without all of you guys being here and watching the show on a regular basis. Thank you so much. Also, if you enjoyed the show and you're still here, maybe you might be interested in joining my Patreon page. You can do that. Boom. Look, there's that information right there again. If you want to support the show financially, there's the website, Venmo, Patreon. There's dollar options at all of those. Patreon is a monthly service that you can sign up, and you pay something every month. The more you pay, the more you get. Top tier members get a writer session. We do a writer session. I just have to send a message out soon for the Patreon members to let them know about this upcoming writer session. Also, you get all of my albums for free, including the new one that just came out about 6 weeks ago. That's Secret Daddy. You can catch that on iTunes. You can get it on Spotify, and you can get it if you join the Patreon page, folks. You can do that. You also will get access to all the online content I've produced during the shutdown, during the COVID, whatever you want to call it, since March. There is close to 90 hours of online content. Some of it is still online. A lot of it is taken down. But you will have access to absolutely all of it if you join the Patreon page. Besides that, guys, you've been great. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for being here. I wish you the best. I'll see you in 2 days. And do me a favor, as always, dream of Pinky.
Lenny Schmidt Quarantine Comedy was created, produced, and is hosted by Lenny Schmidt. We live stream on YouTube at 6 p.m. Pacific every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Special episodes occasionally stream or are uploaded on Tuesday and Thursday. Every episode is also launched as a podcast and can be heard on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. If you enjoyed the show, please like the video. If you really like it, share the video. If you really, really like it, please subscribe to the Lenny Schmidt Comedy channel on YouTube. You'll get updates on this and numerous other online comedy content that my dad produced. Check the info section below for detailed information on all of our guests. If you are a fan, you can follow and support them as well. Go to their page, like their content, buy their albums, purchase a shirt, any merch they may be selling. Anything you do will support performers, will literally help save the arts. In fact, if you want to support this show financially, just go to lennyschmidt.com/ifyoucan or Venmo at Lenny Schmidt Comedy. If you donate as little as $1 or as much as $10,000, it will help pay for the stuff my dad keeps breaking. If you can't pay for the comedy content, that's okay. COVID sucks for all of us. Enjoy the free show. If you want to find a way to support what we do, just subscribe to Lenny Schmidt Comedy channel on YouTube. That really helps a lot. Thank you for listening to my dad's show, and as always, dream of Pinky.